Hello from sunny North Yorkshire. So I've wanted to talk about this car for a long time, our new MC20. This is a car that I ordered nearly 2 years ago. I've had the car a few months now. Unfortunately, there's not been the weather to actually film the car, so this is the first opportunity to do it. So I thought what I'd do is I'd talk you around the car, tell you a bit about it, a bit of the options, why I went for them, and also a little bit about what it's like to drive. So first of all, what do we know about the car? So MC20, this is Maserati's first car that's been independent since they finished the relationship with Ferrari. So this is them saying to Ferrari, look, I can do what you can do, because in the past they haven't been able to do it because Ferrari wouldn't let them. So here we have it. I'll talk you through a little bit about the options. First of all, the colour. So this is Blue Infinito. This is a triple layer paint, and it's really deep, and in the sunshine you can see all the little flecks of the metallic. It's absolutely stunning. Now as an option, that's about a £5,000 option, which sounds like a lot of money, but triple layer paint on Ferrari is a £20,000 option, so for me that's really good value. I spec'd it with the carbon fibre roof. I just thought it has a lovely contrast with the blue. Birdcage alloy wheels, diamond turned, yellow calipers. Now what you do notice with this car is there's no visible spoilers with it, because they've designed the car almost like a ground effect car. So it's got radiators and airflow all through here, and as you can see through here. So the car just sticks to the road. So when you're going through the air, it's all just pushing the car down, and they've designed it in such a way that it's got no mechanical spoilers at all. So talking through it, something you can't see, it's obviously got front lift. I also specified it with a limited slip differential. I just thought with all the power this car has got, if I was in some of the driving modes that maybe allowed a little bit of slip with the traction, if the traction didn't catch me, then at least this limited at least the limited slip diff could catch me. Can't even say it. So now let's look at the business end. First of all, this wonderful Italian design. So the engine bay's got that Maserati Trident cut into the Perspex engine cover. Now Perspex, because this car is light, really light. I'll talk about that more in a minute. But in here, so mid-engined. Now modern day supercar, small engine. So this is a 3-litre V6, but with 630 brake horsepower. So it's a very small, very light engine. This is a Nettuno engine. That's what Maserati call it, Nettuno Neptune, which is Neptune for Greek god of the sea. So, you know, very manly. And with this engine, it's got F1 technology. So it's got technology within the combustion chamber, which I'm not going to try and explain. But what I do know, it's got 2 spark plugs per cylinder. So I'm going to take it as close to a 12-cylinder engine that I can have in a modern day supercar. So I'm going to take that one. Also, something very special about this car, Maserati. I did wait a long time for this car, and Maserati, as a little bit of a treat for me, got the car personally signed by Klaus Busse, who is Maserati's chief designer. Apparently he only signed 2 cars. One was my car and the other one was David Beckham. So I believe, and that's in America, so I believe this is the only UK car that's been signed. So I'm really proud of that. That's a lovely feature for this car, because this was one of the very first UK cars. But having that downsized engine, mid-engined, it also gives us a bit more space. So we've actually got a full rear boot on this car. So unlike many supercars, we've got a little space at the front, which I'll show you in a minute, but also we've got quite a decent boot in the back, so it makes it a great GT car. So like I say, there is space in the front of the car too, in addition to the rear luggage compartment. Now, it isn't very big, unfortunately. By the time you've got your battery charger and your tyre equipment, there isn't much space there, but there is some sort of practicality to it. But you would think that might be deeper actually, but part of the ground effect on the car means that all the radiators are actually sited under here, so that sucks the front of the car down. So you know, for a supercar it is quite practical. So talking about the internal options I went for on the car, first thing I went for this chevron extended Alcantara, which is absolutely stunning. It feels amazing, it looks amazing as well. I think that's something that's really nice. Went for the Sonus Faber hi-fi system. That's quite expensive. That was a £3,500 option, 12-speaker system. I'm not sure if the car really needs it, to be honest. I can't say I've listened to the music that much in the car, but it's nice to have. Carbon fibre theme continues as well, so we went for the internal carbon fibre, so you get the matte finished carbon fibre right through the centre console, on the steering wheel, on the top of here. That was a £6,000 option to get the carbon fibre, so it's an expensive option, but I think it just lifts the interior of the car, just makes it feel that little bit more special, especially when you've got the gear selectors in carbon fibre too. To make the car more usable, I also went for some comfort options such as heated seats, auto dimming door mirrors, and just little styling features like the Trident headrests, which have been stitched in the same colour as the stitching on the seat. So I just wanted to make it as comfortable as possible because with these cars it's nice to do a bit of grand touring, so I didn't just want a hardcore sports car. So she'll get in the car, I'll let you know what it's like to drive and see what we think. Okay, so the important part, what is this car like to drive and to live with? I think first of all, talking about the cabin, it's a very simplistic cabin. It's not particularly pretty, but it's functional and I like it. I like the fact that we've just got wireless Apple CarPlay. So that's me done. I like the fact that the front lifter is just on a simple button. So one button, it goes up and down. I mean, in a McLaren, trying to get the front lifter up when you're coming up to a speed bump, you need to be a NASA scientist to do it. So I do like the simplicity. I like the touchscreen. Yeah, I think if it was your daily driver, I think you'd want more functionality, but it just does what it says on the tin, which is great. So let's start it up. One thing I do notice as well, and what I really like, is because you're in the carbon fibre tub and you've got this heavily convex windscreen with quite thick pillars and a single wiper, kind of feels a bit Koenigsegg, kind of a little bit like Le Mans feel. It feels like a supercar when you're sat in it. I do like that. So anyway, so let's move off. I've just got it into GT mode at the moment and off we go. Another simple thing I really like as well is on the dashboard readout, you've just got a tyre temperature. So you've got cold, okay, and hot. So we all know with supercars, cold tyres, the two things don't match. So a simple readout just saying when your tyres are cold, I think, great, perfect. The Italians have actually thought about something with a bit of common sense. Very good. So we've got a few settings, as all these cars have. There's a GT setting, there's a sport setting, there's a Corsa setting, which is the track mode. But as per a Ferrari, you can in any of the sport or Corsa modes just press the button in the centre, which puts you into a softer suspension setting, which on UK roads, most of the time, it's better to have that extra performance of the GT and the Corsa, but with a softer suspension, otherwise it's too crashy. But talking about suspension, one thing with this car, which I think is exceptional, is the way this car rides. It is a true GT car, probably better than any others. I mean, McLarens do ride well, but this is exceptional. I mean, this is a car that you can do a long drive in and it is not crashy at all. So that for me is a massive tick in the box, especially as I'm getting a bit older now as well. So I'm going to get out of this this village that we're in now, and we'll see how she performs. Another thing to talk about actually is visibility. Carbon tub cars often gives you plenty of visibility, which we have from the front, but you have virtually none looking out the back. So we've got a clear sight rear view mirror, which gives you a camera instead of a rear view mirror, which a few cars are starting to get this now, and I wasn't quite so sure about it. And when you're actually stood still and cars are behind you, it's a bit weird, but when you're actually driving, it actually works better than a standard rear view mirror. It's very good. And this car's got the rear camera as well, so actually when parking you've got your rear camera on your screen, and that is just purely for the rear view mirror. So very practical. So I'm going to just put us into sport mode. I am going to put us in soft suspension. I'm going to put us in manual, because when I'm driving a little bit quicker I do prefer manual gears. And let's see what she's like. So coming out of this corner, drop down a gear, you can hear the change of the engine, and it is just it is ridiculous. This F1 tech that they've got in the engine, I don't know what it does, but it's as if your big toe is attached directly to that combustion chamber. I mean, I'm only in third there, and literally it is instant. And with this car, there's not a lot of noise from the exhaust, but you get the induction noise and you get the turbo whistle. And what, coming out of this corner, second gear, oh bit of slip. Unbelievable, unbelievable. One thing I find with these modern supercars that are turbocharged and they've got so much torque is that I end up actually using a higher gear. So whereas in a naturally aspirated car I might leave a tight corner in second, I actually leave it in third because it's got so much performance, so you don't get any slip and you just pull you out of the corner. And I'm getting used to now these modern supercars. We've all got to just unfortunately put up with the fact that engine downsizing is the way. And yes, obviously they're going to be hybrid, and yes, they're going to be electric, but today's modern supercar is a smaller engine, turbocharged, massive brake horsepower. I don't know why cars need to be this quick. I mean, this is 2.9 seconds 0 to 60, and importantly, this car weighs under 1,500 kilos. Now, if you compare that to a Maserati MC20, that is virtually the same power to weight ratio, or its sister, the Enzo. And Enzo only had 650 brake horsepower, and that weighed just under 1,500 kilos. So if you think in a car that you can buy now for just over £200,000 with option, this is as fast as an Enzo or an MC12. And back then, I mean, that was just crazy. So, I mean, today, wow, the performance of this car is absolutely unbelievable. So I've been driving for a few minutes now, so my temperature display on my tyres have gone from blue to white, which is okay, which means they're warm enough, they're at optimum temperature. So I can just now pop the car into Corsa. You do have to hold the Corsa, because obviously what it does just allow the traction control to step a little bit more, so you can't just put it into Corsa by accident. Again, take it out of bumpy road and put it into the softer suspension setup. So much quicker gear changes in Corsa. So again, come out of the corner in third, off we go, bang, bang, straight into gear. There's a big difference with the speed of the gear change when you're in Corsa. One thing I have noticed in Corsa though, it doesn't allow you to go any higher than 6th gear. So I'm sure it does when you're in much higher speeds, but sometimes I don't know why it doesn't do that, but it actually limits you to 6th gear. So I don't know why the Italians have done that, but they have, hey ho. So I'm coming back into the village now. I'm going to put us back into GT mode, back into automatic gearbox. And this is one thing that really surprised me about this car. This is one thing this car does best. It's just easy. It's easy to drive, it's easy to live with. I mean, when we look at comparisons for this car, you can compare it to a 911 in terms of how usable this car actually is. And yes, you've got McLaren. I think this is a very similar car to McLaren. Downsized engine, carbon fibre tub, but I think this has just got a little bit of Italian flair. It's a little bit rarer, it's definitely better to look at, and obviously you've got the Maserati badge. Ferrari F8 Tributo, slightly more powerful. You do get a little bit more fizz with the Ferrari, but it is a lot more money too as well. So this car fits nicely. It fits nicely between a 911 and an F8. It gives you an alternative in the middle. I would say if I could pick any faults with the car, what would they be? I would like some more noise from the car. And no, we're going to get used to modern supercars, but it could do with just a little bit more noise. I might have plans for that actually, but that's one thing. I think if this car sounded like a Lamborghini STO or a 458, I think they would really nail this car. But I know we can't have everything, but that's the one thing that I would change about the car. Other than that, it's practical. It is Italian, so it does have its little faults. I mean, still to this day, I do not know how to put this car into park. I mean, yes, obviously if you turn the engine off, it goes into park naturally. But if I take my son to school and I want to take his bag out of the boot, so it's got to be in park, by the way, to release the boot. There's no way of actually putting it in park. I've asked Maserati, they took weeks to come back to me. They still don't know the answer to it. So I've got to actually turn the engine off, then use the key to open the boot to then get the car into park. Which, you know, I guess I could live with it, but, and I guess it gives us a little bit of the Italian personality, but it is a little bit ridiculous. We can't put the car into park. So we're back now. What a great car. I mean, what a great car. Okay, so I've now just got back. In summary, what do I think to this car? I think this is a fantastic GT car. It's rare, it's interesting, it's beautiful to look at. Could do with a little bit more noise, but other than that, I think this car represents fantastic value for money. And I know what people are going to say, over £200,000, but when you think a spec F8 or what will be 296 GTBs over 300,000 with a good spec, if you think a 911 now, because a turbo, people are paying over list for the cars that can be between 220 and 250. McLaren, a 720 is over 300. A GT is in the 200s, but a McLaren GT is not as interesting as this car. So I think this car just fits really nicely, and I absolutely love it. Well done, Maserati.